Welcome back to Parenting Roadmaps, week number 2. Last week, we looked at the different domains central to childhood development, and I promise you, we will come back to these time and time again. Today, we're going to look at one aspect that spans across all the domains of childhood development, and to be honest, this skill is one that not only is developed during childhood, but extends into adulthood, and this is self-regulation. Most professionals who work in the field of childhood development consider a child's ability to self-regulate to be especially important. So important, there are many professionals who would even say that self-regulation is the most important skill to develop during the years of childhood. Notice that I said develop and not master. All to say, it's an important topic, and I've decided to spend the next 2 weeks covering self-regulation. This week, we will be looking at what self-regulation is, and next week, we'll talk about the things that you as a parent that you can do to incorporate into your everyday interactions with your child to support their ability to self-regulate. If you can remember, last week I stated that we would be talking about something unique to the preschool years. So if self-regulation is a part of your whole human development, what is unique about the preschool years? Well, I brought a gift to help me illustrate my point. These preschool years are the golden years for you to provide your child with the tools they need to be successful at self-regulation. This is the time to establish strong roots. This is the time to build a solid foundation. This is the time to fill their toolbox with the tools they need. I could keep this up, but I think you get my point. This is the time to give your child a gift that literally will last them a lifetime. Your preschool-age child is at the beginning of this lifelong journey, developing self-regulation skills, and you can give them an amazing gift by helping them get started on this journey, headed in the right direction. Self-regulation is basically what it sounds like. You can break it down. Self, so we're discussing something interpersonal, something about you. And regulation, the act of controlling something. So taking those two items, a very basic definition is the act of controlling oneself. While this does a pretty good job of explaining the basic idea, there are a few aspects of the definition that need a little more attention. When talking about development, self-regulation refers to the control we have over our behaviors and our emotions in difficult situations while keeping focus on the task at hand. Self-regulation allows a person to manage their emotions, behaviors, and movements when faced with a challenge. Someone who has good self-regulation skills can do the following: keep emotions under control, stop impulsive behavior, put into place behavior to improve the difficult situation, continue to focus on the current activity, and delayed gratification, putting on hold what you think you really want now. Super easy, right? Remember, I said this skill is developed during childhood, not mastered. If you were super observant when watching last week's video, you just might remember seeing self-regulation listed when I was discussing the social and emotional domain. You will often see it listed under this domain because the element of self-regulation that's so easily identified is the keeping your emotions in check, or, described another way, remaining calm. However, when you look at the list of what self-regulation entails, you start to see how self-regulation really touches on all the domains of development. A few examples. For the physical domain, a child needs to have the ability to hand over a toy gently when it's time to share and not throw it at their friend. For communication and language skills, a child needs a big enough vocabulary to know the name of the feeling that is overwhelming them. And for the cognitive domain, a child needs to have a plan in place for what they're going to do to lower their stress when their friends start yelling loudly with excitement and it frightens them. You might be thinking to yourself that self-regulation sounds a lot like self-control. And yes, you're going to find people who use them interchangeably. But there is a difference between the two, so I want to point that difference out. Self-control refers to a more specific activity or behavior, specifically when you stop an impulse. Self-regulation is how you calm the emotions in the midst of a stressor, how you stay focused on the goal at hand, in addition to controlling your impulses. I mentioned a second ago about being able to hand over a toy gently when you really feel like you want to throw it. That would be an example of self-control. But if you then went and sat down on the floor and cried and couldn't return to playing with the toys for some amount of time because you were too upset, that would be an example where you demonstrated self-control over the specific behavior, but you did not demonstrate self-regulation over the whole situation. So I'm hoping this gives you a glimpse into what self-regulation is. For next week, you have some homework. 3 questions to ask yourself. First, do you ever ask your preschooler to calm down? If so, does your preschooler know what it means to feel calm? And lastly, have you ever talked to your child about feeling calm when they were actually calm and not upset? So get your homework done. Tune in next week for part 2 of self-regulation. And as always, remember to enjoy the journey.